We had some breakout attempts across several different asset classes here this week, as the S&P 500 is set to finish at a new weekly all-time closing high. We had a nice rebound after the FOMC last week. We talked about the little sell, possible liquidity grab slash bear trap. And this Monday, we wasted no time getting up near that all-time high. Tuesday, making it before putting on a little bit of a breather here the last 3 days of the week and starting to consolidate a little bit. The NASDAQ also had a very nice bid here on the triple Qs. You can see we just went up to the top end of the flag pattern here. So if we go out to a weekly chart, you can see obviously we pierced the low last week and then we pushed up to the top side this week. So the Nasdaq's still a little bit away from all-time highs, not too far, but it has lagged the S&P, Dow, and the Russell, as that's where the correction really took place from. So obviously it had a farther place or farther distance to travel, and we can see the IWM and the Dow also making new highs. DIA here stalling out at the bull market trend line going back to 2023. So that did back off a little bit, and we'll see if maybe the NASDAQ catches up to that into next week. We also had some moves in gold and silver. We'll just cover that right now. Gold finally getting above. We know I've been talking about this level for 2 months here. Is the 4,200 handle. So you can see that pivot low from March right around that area, 42.15. And we blew through it on Wednesday. And this is something I picked up on. We actually picked up some gold and silver, futures and UGL as well, the swing service. For the trade really into non-farm payroll this Friday, and that did come in softer than expected, and this got my antenna up immediately. So I think there was a miss by about 83,000, and they revised it down, of course, which they always do. But that gold bidding up on Wednesday was indicative that the market was probably sniffing that out a little bit. At least that's my diagnosis, and that was the case. You can also see silver here as well, pushing back above 62.5. So pivot low into March, pivot low into June, and it is getting back above that. Silver is a little bit off the highs today, though. It's definitely a little bit stronger in the on the gold side here, but nonetheless, it is catching a bit, and it has bounced here. You can see platinum there hammering on 1800, hasn't quite gotten through. Palladium has triggered a little bit of a breakout, though. It still has some resistance at 1400, which is where it's sitting now. But a nice week for the metals. You can see GDX here up big, back above the 200 moving average. So very nice to see that. You can see a huge weekly candle reclaiming the 50 and the 20 week. So that's good to see the miners leading. Same thing with silver, SIL, up 5% today, and that's holding the gains very nicely. So again, the miners reclaiming the moving averages. That's a big positive. There is a lot of supply up here, but you can even take. I mean, we could just take SIL here and just draw this in. So that looks like a breakout right there, and you could even draw, maybe even a wedge there. So how about that? So take a look. I just did that in real time here, but and a similar kind of look on GDX. We could even, draw this across. You could also draw it from here if you wanted to. Doesn't really matter all that much. It's all kind of going to the same spot, right? But you can see right there. So I kind of like this other one a little bit better, but a nice breakout nonetheless on the miners, and it's a positive. We will see. I think you can try to buy dips in these, possibly moving forward. There is a small chance. I'm just going to put out a small chance out there. I would have really liked it if we had just retested 3,700 just to get that out of the way, and just kind of fill out this air here. It doesn't have to do it, but rate cut odds now are dropping substantially for September. And again, like I said, I think gold is sniffing out the softening of monetary policy, which is probably going to have to come soon. But nonetheless, there is a chance, right? There's a chance that it could try to, this could be a fake out, a head fake. And if that is the case, this is my buy with both hands area. So, we'll see what we get here. But nice rebound here on the metals. We made some nice money with members this week, swing trading and day trading it. So metals getting a nice push, and again, obviously the S&P, as I said, trading with a positive correlation there. TLT is actually flat today, so the long end of the curve is on the weaker side. All right, and then if we look at the 2-year, that is up a little bit here on the futures. So it's still in a downtrend, but it has come back up. And if we flip over to, we can just show you the actual yield here, and we'll get to Bitcoin in a second. But Bitcoin having a decent move today too. But the 2-year here is down, and the 3-month is down. So again, we're getting closer to Fed funds here. So that's I mean, I'd take that as a huge positive, right? Because we were getting, the 3 month was getting away from Fed funds. And if that is the case, then that means hikes have to be on the table. But with that coming back in and this now looking like a possible, right, lower high here, yeah, it's just, and that's a good sign, right? It's really simple. It's good for asset prices for sure. But nonetheless, the farther you go up the curve, the more sturdy the yield is, right? So that long-term expectation is still, um, fiscal dominance, things of that nature, inflation, etc. But yeah, there's another little headline here while I'm trading view open. Dollar yen, there was some intervention over the weekend. I warned everyone about this. I said, do not think that this is going to crash the stock market. Whenever the powers that be use the word coordination, and they've been using that for 2 months now, and I've been warning you about this for 2 months to expect intervention and expect it to not hurt the market. And we saw this in semis, right? Back here we start to see some distribution, right? So the market had gotten ahead of it. If you read between the lines and you were paying attention, they telegraphed this. So I think the market was able to de-risk quite a bit ahead of this intervention, and that's why it's not hurting the market. But again, Uncle Scott Bessent, he used the euro, right? And look, the dollar, excuse me, the Fed and Japan they've always had swap lines open. So this is nothing really new here. But nonetheless, it did come back in, and they actually whacked it down pretty decently this time, enough to at least retest kind of the prior low. The uptrend is still kind of intact, but we are below that prior high now. So we'll see how that goes here. But I figured that was worth mentioning as well. Outside of that, sectors here, semis continue to rebound here. We had a little breakout there on the SMH. So again, kind of like GDX, little falling wedge type pattern. The SOX as well. I talked about these levels here a couple weeks ago, like 475. We pierced that, and that was a good buy level for SOXX. So nice rebound there. Cloud also having a huge week. Microsoft ripped last week, and it's ripping this week too. It is very overbought though, and extended. So I don't really love shorting, but I think if there's some mean reversion to be had, it's next week. Weekly candle completely outside of the Bollinger Band. That's probably going to see some mean reversion there. But nonetheless, cloud had a really big week. Transports also held the 100-day, so nice rebound there. Home builders also up with rates coming down a little bit, and then IYR here, yeah, it backed off again. Again, the bounce is more in semiconductors, but it held up okay. It's still holding the breakout for now. XLF new all-time high again, and I believe it's going to be it should be a new weekly all-time high as well. A little bit of a tail on that candle though. I would prefer to not see that, but it is a new all-time closing high. And KRE as well. That's so close to all-time highs. So bank's still acting pretty well here. Yeah, very close. Got really close there this week. We'll see if they can capture it. Broker dealers also continuing to act well. Oil got a rebound. I talked about 115 on USO pretty much all week long, and that was the low of the week. So there it was. We dropped down Monday, and then we hit 113.86 and then rebounded here. So the jury's still out here. I don't have a trade on oil right now. So you have a high, a lower high here, and then you don't have a higher low confirmed yet. So at this point, oil could just do this, right? There's nothing saying that it can't. It could also, what you'd want to look for here if you're long, you want to look for some sort of higher high here to fix this structure, right? You want that higher high so that you now have space for a higher low here. All right, so that's what we'd be looking for. But my guess is they're going to continue hammering this into November 3rd or whenever the election, Super Tuesday is. So it is what it is. However, energy equities are not terrible here. XLE has held up pretty well. I mean, it's backed off the last 2 weeks, but I mean, you're looking at what, 57.5. So it's $2.50. So it's only down 4%. Whereas oil is down, it went down, I mean, what's this, like 30? So 20.93, 21.5%, right? So it has it's down more than like 4 times or 5 times what XLE is down. So the equities have held up pretty well. And like I said, I said this months ago, I said, look, the oil price, they don't want oil. Exxon doesn't want oil going to 200, right? This is a perfect area, between 90 and 80 this is a money making area here. So these guys are making tons of money right now. There's XOP as well. They're still holding the 50-day. OIH I don't love as much, as you guys know. I don't really love the weekly. It's a little bit closer to a bear flag, but it's still holding up. It's still an uptrend. But yeah, these guys are making tons of money right here with oil at this price, right? This is a very, very much a sweet spot for them. Dollar index that got hammered today, it's holding the low, but again, this is now looking like a failed weekly breakout, right? So I know there's a lot of lines here, but we broke out, we tried to flag, right? And then boom, rejection, closed below, and looks like we're going to confirm below that this week. So, barring any surprises here, it looks like, the gold move here is got some legs to it and could be legit. Like I said, there's always a chance here, whenever you're in a tight range for a long time, a lot of the time the first move can be a fake out, a head fake, but we'll see. As long as it's holding, 4,200 on any retest, it should be okay. I would expect it to probably back test this next week just because this breakout's not sneaking up on anybody anymore. So anybody chasing into the weekend, maybe they shake them out on Monday. Again, silver is a little bit softer. I don't love it as much, but it's still good. It's still nice to see. Weekly chart still got to clear that 50 moving average. But what I like is, as I said, the miners have already done that, so that's bullish, and we don't bet against that. Copper, aka the data center ETF, as I call it. New weekly all-time closing high. So what else is new? What else is new here? Lastly, before we get into Bitcoin, I do want to talk about equity dispersion. I've been ranting about this all week long, but volatility dispersion here, and what that means is the index volatility is pinned at the index level right now, meaning the SPX. So the 1 month realized volatility of the whole index is it's at a like almost an all-time low, pretty much. We're at .com levels. And usually what this means is it's a major topping signal. However, I'm going to explain why it's not, and I can't really get too deep into it here. If you want to check out my channel, I talk about this all the time. But what else is true is money market funds are sitting at all-time highs. The reason why we have so much dispersion here is because these money market funds, 95% of them also are basically a vehicle for selling covered calls. You have, I'm not going to get too far into it, but let me just explain. There's a weekly pay. There's a vehicle. I believe it's AVWG. There it is. Sorry. So this is like Broadcom, right? You're familiar with that stock? There's a covered call ETF that's 1.2 times leveraged, and it pays out weekly, not monthly. There's like, just type in yield max, right, and just look at these ETFs. There's tons of them, and there's more of them every month, right? And they are effectively just selling calls indiscriminately to the marketplace, right? So what happens when you do that is it suppresses volatility, right? It forces the market maker to go short, right? Which creates an environment that is excessively hedged, which pins volatility at the index level, right? So this is not going down, right? And this is not going down either. So it's not necessarily a situation where classic, traditionally, if volatility was being sold that hard, that would be a sign that there's pigs out there and they're going to get slaughtered, basically. I think this is more of a regime change. So important to understand, important detail. I can't get into it too deep here, but if you want, come check out the channel, Carnivore Trades or Gamma Boy Trading. I talk about this all the time. But anyway, this week here, nice breakouts pretty much across the board. We are taking a little bit of a breather for the S&P. You don't want a weekly close below 7,600. That would be a red flag to me. But, we had a nice thrust here, and we'll see if that takes us up here into the end of the summer. So anyways, guys, don't forget to come find Jason on Patreon and me on carnivoretrades.com, and we'll see you guys all next week.